Welcome to Executives at the Edge, a podcast brought to you by MEF. I'm your host, Pascal Menezes. Join me as we explore thought-provoking perspectives from the leaders and changemakers who are propelling enterprise digital transformation forward.
Welcome to this special Power Play episode of MEF's Executives at the Edge podcast. In this SASE recap, we bring together top industry leaders to explore SASE's evolution, adoption, and future. You'll hear from Kelly Ahuja, CEO of Versa Networks, on how SASE is reshaping enterprise security, Bob Victor from Comcast Business on real-world SASE deployments, and Mauricio Sanchez from Dell'Oro Group on the importance of standardization in the SASE ecosystem. As SASE adoption grows, ensuring security and interoperability is a major challenge. That's why organizations like MEF are working to bring clarity through SASE standardization and certification. In this episode, we'll explore why certification is key to building trust in SASE solutions. And we'll also look at how AI is shaping the future of cybersecurity.
So tell us what's keeping enterprise CEOs, CISOs up at night. So love to hear it.
Well, these days, given all the global geopolitical challenges, the concern around macroeconomy and everything. So the biggest thing on most CEOs' mind, and even on mine, is the uncertainty about the business, the timing, the cost structure. All CEOs are thinking about, hey, whatever. If I'm a public company CEO, I'm thinking about growth. What projection do I set for the investors, and am I going to be able to deliver it? How do I control costs, because I want to make sure that I can deliver on the bottom line? Really, the outskirt of that is that even in this current environment, cybersecurity is an area that seems to be relatively more resilient than other areas, and that's really kind of the fundamental story, which is no matter what's going on in the industry, security, how people are working has changed. People are moving to cloud, and the confluence of that is really creating an inflection point of needing something to be able to protect your users, protect your data, protect your things, and also connect to applications and workloads.
What are the benefits of SASE to the enterprise? How does it address their security needs?
Yeah, so there's really two parts of this. One is SASE stands for Secure Access Services Edge.
Right.
And it's not unlike in the past, where you kind of said routing, and it wasn't routing, it was a router. It was a firewall. It was like appliances or functions which were built into appliances. SASE is more like an integrated set of functions that have been pulled together that do both networking, and it's not just SD-WAN, it's more than SD-WAN. You've got to do all sorts of networking capabilities. You've got to do QoS, DHCP, server, DHCP relay, carrier-grade NAT, DOS, many other things, along with all the security. So SASE is really a combination of both of those. And ironically, the vision for SASE that Gartner has had, and which is aligned with ours, which is, and I actually simply put it, which is SASE is really designed to protect, because that's one of the key things that SASE delivers, is security, and connect. And the connection part is the connecting users, devices, or sites anywhere to workloads or applications anywhere, anytime. And it's a combination of both of those that is SASE. And that's really important, because there's many vendors out there today that say they're SASE vendors, but all they do is one or two or three functions, and they don't do it with an integrated platform. They do it with a bunch of products.
Now let's hear how SASE is being deployed in real-world enterprises.
So tell us about this secure networking strategy in the enterprise sector. Like, what's Comcast strategy and differentiation there?
Yeah, no, that's a great question. So we serve really both mid-market and very large enterprise, and we think of that, and actually increasingly SMB now, with some of the secure networking solutions that work for single-site customers that have cloud access, that have needs for security and accessing applications and storage in the cloud with different routing and backup circuits. So, we think about secure networking really as crossing the gamut. In the mid-market, we have a great partnership with Versa, as well as Palo Alto Networks for SD-WAN and security and SASE. And we essentially have what we call the Active Core platform, which is based on Versa which is a secure networking platform we offer to mid-market customers. And for those, it's transactional, it's multi-tenant. We really take the complexity out of running, a multi-site secure network for mid-market customers. And on the other hand, we have a lot of customers who will come to us and say, look, we're a Cisco shop that we want to put in Meraki or Viptela, or we want to work with Fortinet. And we support those vendors too in a more tailored fashion. So we have great and deep partnerships with other security and SD-WAN customers to offer a more bespoke solution that works for very large customers. And so, our approach is really to to focus on the entire market, really own the transactional space and flex up to the more tailored space.
So what you're saying is you not only have the connectivity part of the underlays almost across half the continent, or at least the United States, you also have now overlays of SD-WAN, and you're also doing cybersecurity SASE.
Yeah.
And you're doing all of that within your own plant. You're not like outsourcing parts or anything like that. That's very impressive that you could get all the security professionals. I mean, it's a huge shortage right now.
It has been a journey. It's interesting. I mean, for us, we started out saying, look, we need to be in the secure networking and, SD-WAN and SASE space to sell more connectivity. We make great margins on connectivity. We've invested billions and billions of dollars over the years on our plant, and we want to, control the customer relationship. What we used to say with our fiber network is, look, show us where your sites are. We'll show you where our network is, and then we'll connect, sites that match. And we had a disruptive pricing, and we, really got great Ethernet fiber share. What we prefer to say now is, look, tell us where all your sites are, and, we'll deliver both the underlay, whether that's Comcast network or third-party off-net.
Exactly.
We have great partnerships with AT&T, Verizon, Lumen, the other cable companies, now fixed wireless access as well. And so we'll deliver a full on-net and off-net underlay, as well as providing the overlay on all of the circuits. The area that's probably most new to us is international.
I was going to ask you that with your acquisition.
Yeah, so as you mentioned, we acquired MEF-CECP recently, just about a year ago. And MEF-CECP brought, they have a platform similar to our Active Core, which is ours is Versa-based, theirs is Fortinet-based. And they really serve and focus on the mid-market, but a little bit step up, companies with a bit more complex security needs, and typically also who have offices outside of the U.S. And so that's something we haven't done, and part of our motivation for acquiring MEF-CECP is to bring in some of more of their capabilities. You mentioned it's a challenge getting the right security professionals, the right networking professionals. It's just been a phenomenal marriage and partnership with them, and just a great set of team members. They also know how to serve international sites. They know how to go overseas and get underlay, and also deliver overlay and manage a set of partners all around the world. And so that's really turbocharged our efforts to really extend our secure networking services.
Next up, we dive into the need for standards and certification in SASE.
What's the role of standards in this world of SASE?
Well, it's interesting because standards can be a blessing and a curse. Curse because it takes a village. It's not one tribe, it's many tribes that have to come together and agree on something. But the blessing part is that once you get there, it makes it easier for the industry to adopt. So particularly for our partners, the service providers, the telcos, it's much easier for them to have a common way of describing different vendors' products. They want the flexibility of choosing vendor A, vendor B, and stitching things together. And having some sort of standards or interoperability is really helpful for them to kind of do that with a peace of mind, because at the end of the day, they're concerned about A, time to revenue, and B, driving costs down.
Right.
And standards can be allowing them a way to do that. They don't want to be locked into anything.
Do you think also the certification to the standard might help?
No, absolutely. And I think if you really take a look at most of the telcos today, they spend most of the times in their projects is on IT integration, right? Why? Because more than the function of what happens inside the function, which is typically proprietary in every vendor, they have to stitch things together. And stitching things together is where they spend most of the time, and most of the lifecycle management is on that too. So if he can help them stitch things together better, it's not just about interoperability, but about having a peace of mind that I can take product A from this vendor and product B from that vendor, or multiple functions from the same vendor and stitch them together, they'll work fine. That is going to help them drive A, time to market, time to revenue, and then B, reduce cost as well. So I think that the certification thing actually has much more value and near-term impact to the bottom line and the top line of the service providers.
So you had these two large inflection points or accelerations of trends that were already probably happening: the remote work and the fact that applications became much more internet based and moving to being cloud, some form of a setting off in the cloud. And so the remote work caused this attention to security and being cloud delivered. And then the cloud applications themselves then caused, hey, we need to transform our branches and our network architecture to be able to do this more effectively, more productively, because home running traffic to the headquarters and then piping out the internet just doesn't work any longer. And so you had these two worlds that kind of smashed together during the pandemic and say, well, we need to have network and security come together because the workflows make perfect sense. I got to protect users. I got to provide connectivity. Regardless of where they're at, I got to make sure my branches, wherever they're stood up, need to be performant because I need my applications are no longer on-prem; they're often in the cloud. And so this kind of set the perfect stage of this marriage of network and security, which we have now blessed as SASE, right? So in the most fundamental terms, I always like to describe SASE as being the combination of SD-WAN class networking together with this cloud-delivered secure web gateway that has now transformed to a number of different security services on top, to come together in service of that distributed set of users off on the internet, as well as distributed branches that need to connect to the cloud applications that now run the enterprise.
So what we've come to realize is that many enterprises don't know how they're secure. So our certification program will be one of the finest and first in the world that will actually validate subscribers, enterprises, when they subscribe and buy a service, whether it be from the vendor or from the service provider from anywhere, that, are you secure with a score? And that security is always being updated on a continuous basis, meaning they're testing continuously as a CI/CD process. And it won't just test to MEF standards. It'll test, for the threats, whether it be exploits, evasions, malware. It'll test for application performance, the proper classification of the application itself, and even, performance and scale and all that kind of stuff. So I think we're really looking at SASE to becoming, as you talked about, an underpinning for NAS. It's truly is an essence of the NAS that makes NAS modernized, where the old NAS was just about, network connectivity at the underlay. The more modern NAS is just not the underlay, but the overlays with multi-cloud coming together in a fully automated way.
The need to have independent verification of solutions has existed from nearly the beginning of the security industry. And so I'm not surprised. And I applaud the efforts of any organization such as MEF to go after and be a beacon of independence to be able to provide some level of validation. So I think that has always been part of the picture when it comes to the cybersecurity industries, is that there have been outfits to do independent verification. I think the difficulty with SaaS is because it combines both the networking and not just the security, and it's a much more complicated environment. And but from a value proposition, I'm not. I think any company is going to go through that, thinking about, hey, how do I verify that what I'm buying is actually what it is doing, what it said it's doing?
Yeah, and if you think about, we buy today, TVs and Wi-Fi's, and there's always a certification that's kind of branded. It gives me a level of confidence that I don't have to think about or test or worry about, but either interoperability or it will perform right. And I think what's been missing, and I think, if you look at the SD-WAN market just by itself, it started about 2012, 2011, we can argue.
Mm-hmm.
About 10 years, and really hasn't really gone to the $80 billion markets over 10 years. You see mainly, MPLS and Ethernet technologies back then. It's probably 3, 4, 5 billion. It's not very much. That's 10 years later. I wonder, I think SASE is going to be caught in the same problem. And I think the reasoning is, what standardization does, it creates a great baseline level playing field to create everybody with confidence to jump in and then allow every other vendor and provider to differentiate on top. And I think SASE is going to face the same challenges if there's not going to be a level of confidence in the market. Any thoughts on that?
Oh, absolutely. I think that there's without a question, anytime you introduce change in how something is architected or operated, it always takes longer than you expect it to. So I think the efforts, whether it be security certification or conformance testing or standardization, ultimately help to be able to adopt. And I think in different conversation, I've said to you, I'm a big standards believer, right? Because I think when the standards at the right time allow that buy-in by the larger community to say, okay, this is a standard way of doing things, and then when I buy it, I have certain expectations that it's going to be interoperable, it's going to work, it's going to do what I think it's going to do. So in general, I think that's just the cycle that these industries will have to go through.
Finally, let's take a look at how AI is shaping the future of SASE security.
Where does generative AI fit into the whole SASE model, and will it play a predominant role in protecting our society?
Oh boy, that's like asking, where is the world going to be in 25 years, Pascal? I think if I gaze into my crystal ball, I think there's already some what I'd say low-hanging fruit in terms of improving the utility in the administrative ease of solutions, and no differently would be SASE or network or security. By that I mean is building an interface with these natural language class of questions. It's amazing. I've seen some of the demos by some of the vendors about what they are able now to do with something like the similar models that are used by ChatGPT. But I think we're really only scratching the surface, because to your point, no one's really taken yet how do we spin all the telemetry that we have to be able to build an AI model that can do exactly what you just described at scale across many classes of network and security technologies. So I think we will see over the next 5 years a lot of innovations. Of course, the hype cycle is probably a little bit running hot right now, but in the near term, the administrative improvements that are already starting to come into view because of using AI technologies, in that alone should be, I think, something that all network and security administrators should be jumping up for joy for. And beyond that, I think there's still a lot of runway for us to take advantage from AI.
Thanks for joining us for Executives at the Edge. Don't miss an episode. Subscribe today. Share online a review. Find all our episodes on your favorite podcast platform and at MEF.net.